be part of shaping the next 50 years of West African prosperity. Ecowas, 50 years of facilitating trade and investment, and the journey continues. For 5 decades, Ecowas has been the bridge connecting nations, empowering businesses, and building a united West Africa through trade and investment. As we celebrate 50 years of regional integration, Ecowas invites you to explore its legacy at the 39th edition of the Lagos International Trade Fair. Venue: Ecowas Pavilion, Tafawa Balewa Square, Lagos, Nigeria. Date: November 7th to 16th, 2025. This is more than an exhibition. It's a platform for collaboration, innovation, and opportunity, where business meets policy and vision meets partnership. Join and be part of shaping the next 50 years of West African prosperity. Ecowas, 50 years of facilitating trade and investment, and the journey continues. For 5 decades, Ecowas has been the bridge connecting nations, empowering businesses, and building a united West Africa through trade and investment. As we celebrate 50 years of regional integration, Ecowas invites you to explore its legacy at the 39th edition of the Lagos International Trade Fair. Venue: Ecowas Pavilion, Tafawa Balewa Square, Lagos, Nigeria. Date: November 7th to 16th, 2025. This is more than an exhibition. It's a platform for collaboration, innovation, and opportunity, where business meets policy and vision meets partnership. Join and be part of shaping the next 50 years of West African prosperity. Ecowas, 50 years of facilitating trade and investment, and the journey continues. For 5 decades, Ecowas has been the bridge connecting nations, empowering businesses, and building a united West Africa through trade and investment. As we celebrate 50 years of regional integration, Ecowas invites you to explore its legacy at the 39th edition of the Lagos International Trade Fair. Venue: Ecowas Pavilion, Tafawa Balewa Square, Lagos, Nigeria. Date: November 7th to 16th, 2025. This is more than an exhibition. It's a platform for collaboration, innovation, and opportunity, where business meets policy and vision meets partnership. Join and be part of shaping the next 50 years of West African prosperity. Ecowas, 50 years of facilitating trade and investment, and the journey continues. For 5 decades, Ecowas has been the bridge connecting nations, empowering businesses, and building a united West Africa through trade and investment. As we celebrate 50 years of regional integration, Ecowas invites you to explore its legacy at the 39th edition of the Lagos International Trade Fair. Venue: Ecowas Pavilion, Tafawa Balewa Square, Lagos, Nigeria. Date: November 7th to 16th, 2025. This is more than an exhibition. It's a platform for collaboration, innovation, and opportunity, where business meets policy and vision meets partnership. Join and be part of shaping the next 50 years of West African prosperity. Ecowas, 50 years of facilitating trade and investment, and the journey continues. For 5 decades, Ecowas has been the bridge connecting nations, empowering businesses, and building a united West Africa through trade and investment. As we celebrate 50 years of regional integration, Ecowas invites you to explore its legacy at the 39th edition of the Lagos International Trade Fair. Venue: Ecowas Pavilion, Tafawa Balewa Square, Lagos, Nigeria. Date: November 7th to 16th, 2025. This is more than an exhibition. It's a platform for collaboration, innovation, and opportunity, where business meets policy and vision meets partnership. Join and be part of shaping the next 50 years of West African prosperity. Ecowas, 50 years of facilitating trade and investment, and the journey continues. For 5 decades, Ecowas has been the bridge connecting nations, empowering businesses, and building a united West Africa through trade and investment. As we celebrate 50 years of regional integration, Ecowas invites you to explore its legacy at the 39th edition of the Lagos International Trade Fair. Venue: Ecowas Pavilion, Tafawa Balewa Square, Lagos, Nigeria. Date: November 7th to 16th, 2025. This is more than an exhibition. It's a platform for collaboration, innovation, and opportunity, where business meets policy and vision meets partnership. Join and be part of shaping the next 50 years of West African prosperity. Ecowas, 50 years of facilitating trade and investment, and the journey continues. For 5 decades, Ecowas has been the bridge connecting nations, empowering businesses, and building a united West Africa through trade and investment. As we celebrate 50 years of regional integration, Ecowas invites you to explore its legacy at the 39th edition of the Lagos International Trade Fair. Venue, Ecowas Pavilion, Tafawa Balewa Square, Lagos, Nigeria. Date, November 7th to 16th, 2025. This is more than an exhibition. It's a platform for collaboration, innovation, and opportunity, where business meets policy and vision meets partnership. Join and be part of shaping the next 50 years of West African prosperity. Ecowas, 50 years of facilitating trade and investment, and the journey continues. For 5 decades, Ecowas has been the bridge connecting nations, empowering businesses, and building a united West Africa through trade and investment. As we celebrate 50 years of regional integration, Ecowas invites you to explore its legacy at the 39th edition of the Lagos International Trade Fair. Venue, Ecowas Pavilion, Tafawa Balewa Square, Lagos, Nigeria. Date, policy and vision meets partnership. Join and be part of shaping the next 50 years of West African prosperity. Ecowas, 50 years of facilitating trade and investment, and the journey continues.
50 years ago, on 28 May 1975, a bold vision came to life. The dream of a united, integrated, and prosperous West Africa became a reality as leaders of 15 West African countries gathered in Lagos, Nigeria to lay the foundation of a regional organization with the capacity to address the economic, socio-political, and security challenges facing the region. On that historic day, Ecowas was born. Over the past 5 decades, Ecowas has remained resilient, steadfast, and committed to the ideals set forth by its founding fathers, promoting democracy, peace, security, good governance. Key achievements over the years include advancing intra-regional trade through the implementation of the Common External Tariff, spearheading regional infrastructure projects, including transnational road corridors connecting member states' capitals, establishing a regional electricity market, and progressing towards a single regional currency, supporting member countries in combating epidemics, strengthening healthcare systems, and improving food security, investing in human capital development, promoting gender equality, empowering youth, and fostering culture and tourism, providing humanitarian support to vulnerable populations during crises and disasters, and supporting democratic processes and regional stability through election observation missions. As we reflect on our journey over the past 50 years, we look to the future with hope and determination. Together, let us continue to build the Ecowas of our dreams, an Ecowas of the people, peace and prosperity for all. Ecowas, stronger together for a brighter future.
It has been a wonderful opportunity leading the ECOWAS delegation to the 4th Intra-African Trade Fair on behalf of Commissioner Masanje Turelitsa, Commissioner responsible for Economic Affairs and Agriculture. The ECOWAS Pavilion at the 4th International Trade Fair brought together ECOWAS officials from various ECOWAS institutions, as well as representatives of member states, who were represented by the trade promotion organizations. In addition to government officials, we're also able to bring selected small and medium enterprises to come and display their products, particularly in the area of agro-processing. This particular trade fair has seen the Ecowas stand hold a number of strategic side events, engagements with partners such as UNDP, ITC, as well as partners from within West Africa that included the Ghana Export Promotion Authority and Nigerian Promotion Council.
There's a great level of similarity or alignment between what Ecowas is doing and what is being done at the regional, at the continental level, to ensure that our members adequately take advantage or benefit from the AFCFTA. As a region, we've developed the AFCFTA implementation strategy, and it's also been adopted, and we are putting in place the necessary structures and resources to oversee the implementation of the strategy. And I think that is very key.
We've seen policy interface with real-life impact in one location. If you look behind me, you see that there's a policy conversation going on with SMEs. And at the same time, these SMEs are trading, they are putting these things into practice. We've been able to, beyond having them even distribute some units of their products, they've been able to seal deals.
As I'm thanking ECOWAS, I'm also saying that it's good to collaborate. And we've been collaborating with ECOWAS for a very long time on so many projects. And IATF is such of one great project that we've partnered them on. Now, the collaboration is very impactful, especially in this year, because a lot of the SMEs that we brought on board have been able to secure some distribution deals. And also they've been able to have some contacts and build networks. And this network has even helped them that going into the future, they're going to do more trading.
I mean, we've had a lovely time here this morning. Meeting all my sisters and brothers from across the globe. We are creating Pan-African brands and it's all going global. Africa is the next big thing, joining ECOWAS, UNDP, and everybody across the globe.
UNDP and ECOWAS. It was a very interesting experience given that the businesses had such a short time to come together as a group and come up with ideas on how they could scale businesses within their specific sectors. Agri-processing, share, and then fashion. So I'm looking forward to learning more and following the journey of the winners and seeing what comes out of all of these ideas.
Altogether, the impact we believe that this trade fair will have on our small and medium enterprises is significant. We can already see deals being made, relationships being brokered on how products that are made in West Africa can be exported to the Algerian market and also to the rest of North Africa.
For my business, I would say I see a lot of market expansion opportunities, potential partnerships. I have almost sealed a deal with someone who wants to export my products to Algeria and then to US, an e-commerce practitioner. And we're hoping that with time, that knowledge that they have impacted in us, we will get to learn more. We'll get more opportunities of networking and exchanging with other SMEs, donors, partners, investors. We're ready to meet everyone, and thank you ECOWAS for that.
Ici, nous sommes venus en Algérie, c'est une opportunité pour nous et on a eu à rencontrer plusieurs personnes, on a eu à parler avec plusieurs personnes et c'est vraiment une véritable opportunité pour nous parce que de ce pas, on sent que notre activité va avoir un plus. Parce qu'on a eu à échanger avec des investisseurs, on a eu à échanger avec plusieurs personnes qui sont prêtes à investir en Côte d'Ivoire.
Our call of action to you, to anybody, is that Africa is open for business. Come and invest, let us trade, and create wealth and employment for African citizens.
Trade for development!
Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to the official launch of the 50th anniversary celebration of ECOWAS, which of course will announce activities marked for this 50th anniversary celebration.
Our objective is to celebrate, reflect, and recalibrate our community. Nothing is worth celebrating more than ECOWAS's role in peace and security in the region. I remain optimistic that we will collectively preserve and build on the gains of regional integration. Long live ECOWAS, long live West Africa, long live Africa.
Remarkably, our journey over the past 5 decades has not been without challenges, but we remain undaunted. We shall not relent in our commitment to a united, peaceful, purposeful, and prosperous West Africa.
In 1975, our founding fathers, faced with fragmented economies and fragile political landscapes, chose the path of cooperation over competition and rivalry. Their vision was clear. It was one to pursue our development not as isolated nations, but as a united community. Since then, ECOWAS has grown to become a key diplomatic and political force in Africa. Through consistent engagement, dialogue, and mediation, our community has earned a reputation as a trusted arbiter in conflict prevention and resolution.
Your Excellencies, we invite all member states, institutions, partners, and the people of West Africa to participate actively, to share our common stories, to chart together the path towards a stronger, more resilient, more united ECOWAS, and to keep the ECOWAS and African unity dream alive.
I am truly honored today to briefly present to you the logo of the ECOWAS at 50 and the theme of our Golden Jubilee. The logo blends the existing ECOWAS identity with celebratory elements to mark the significant 50-year milestone, our Golden Jubilee. The theme of the celebration is Stronger Together for a Brighter Future. The theme highlights the power of unity, regional cooperation, and shared commitment among ECOWAS member states as the foundation for building a prosperous, peaceful, and sustainable future for the people of West Africa. It is a vision, a commitment. It reminds us that despite our linguistic, cultural, and historical differences, West African countries continue to share a common identity, able to shape a brighter future for present and future generations to come.
Heads of state and government of ECOWAS member states arrive for their ordinary summit. They have long become the fulcrum of regional governance.
It is another moment of joy for me to welcome you to Abuja.
The leaders meet twice a year for these ordinary summits, but sometimes the state of the region compels them to hold extraordinary summits. At these ordinary and extraordinary summits held across the capital cities of member states, the leaders take the decisions that shape the economic, political, and security landscape of the region, and it's about 450 million people. The leaders help the region navigate through the labyrinth of roads that can lead to the desired goal of integration and development. This has become the tradition since ECOWAS was established in 1975. The founding fathers, led by then Nigerian head of state General Yakubu Gowon and late President Gnassingbé Eyadema of Togo, were motivated by the desire to create a unified region in spite of their linguistic, ideological and colonial differences.
At that time, of course, we have a lot of, together we're having a lot of agreement, trade agreement with the European inner countries. If that's the case, why don't we, bring all this together so that, it is the community, all of us in West Africa, that will come to the agreement.
General Gowon assigned the task of ensuring that this dream crystallized to his then Federal Commissioner for Economic Development and Reconstruction, Professor Adebayo Adedeji.
I went to Togo, and I asked Edema to convene a meeting of member states, not heads of state, of member states, to talk about integration, which he did. It was left to yours truly to argue and convince the ministers from about 15, 16 countries that this was an endeavor worth taking. And surprisingly, they agreed.
So on the 28th of May 1975, leaders of 15 countries in West Africa came together in Lagos, then capital of Nigeria, to sign the famous Treaty of Lagos, creating the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS.
The attendance was from every country of the region. And my surprise was Huford Boyne, who came and was able to also append his signature to the new idea of the new Economic Community of West African States.
The initial objective of ECOWAS was essentially economic integration of the region for the material good of the citizens. ECOWAS has evolved far beyond this. In 1993, the treaty was revised to include political integration in response to the changing dynamics of the region.
ECOWAS has evolved over time from a small regional economic community to a model regional economic community. As we speak, I can proudly say ECOWAS is the most integrated region.
The organization took off in 1975 from these modest premises in the then Nigerian capital, Lagos, but in 1993 moved to a more elaborate headquarters in Nigeria's new capital city, Abuja, from where the Commission now drives initiatives in regional trade, security, and governance under the direction of the Authority of Heads of States and Government. The first protocol adopted by ECOWAS in 1979 was that on free movement of persons, goods, and services, often described as the flagship protocol of ECOWAS. It laid the foundation for a borderless West Africa, fostering regional integration and economic growth.
There is no regional community in Africa that has practicalized this protocol on free movement the way in which ECOWAS has done.
There have been challenges with the faithful implementation of the protocol, but the leaders keep working on it and insist on substantial compliance in the interest of community citizens. For decades, formal trade within the region stood at just 13%, but informal trade was substantial, with ordinary folks trading across cities like Kano, Kumasi, and Bamako. To scale up formal inter-regional trade, ECOWAS launched the ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme, ETLS, aimed at eliminating customs duties and non-tariff barriers, making it easier for businesses to operate across borders. The ETLS has had a profound impact, increasing intra-community trade from $3 billion in 2003 to over $15 billion. Energy is another critical sector ECOWAS has committed substantial resources to because of its strategic importance to the goal of economic development and industrialization. The West African Power Pool in Cotonou, Benin Republic, and the ECOWAS Regional Energy Regulatory Authority in Accra, Ghana, coordinate and regulate the regional electricity market launched in 2018. ECOWAS also promoted the West Africa Gas Pipeline, which transports natural gas from Nigeria to Benin Republic, Togo, and Ghana for power generation. To support project financing, ECOWAS established the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development, EBID, which has played a crucial role in funding transnational projects. EBID was instrumental in promoting EcoBank Transnational Incorporated, now a leading financial institution in Africa, and was a founding shareholder in A-Sky Airlines, which now connects most capital cities in the region. When the COVID-19 pandemic struck in 2020, ECOWAS was better prepared due to its Ebola experience. The organization swiftly deployed a regional response mechanism, convening a virtual extraordinary summit to mobilize resources and support fragile health systems. President Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria was appointed ECOWAS COVID-19 champion, coordinating the regional response effectively. President Buhari deployed the Nigerian Air Force for the rapid airlift of vital medical equipment, including ventilators, personal protective equipment, and diagnostic test kits to 14 member states by WAHU to implement the test, trace, and treat strategy. ECOWAS has also taken remarkable strides in peacekeeping, for which it has earned global recognition. For decades, wars and conflicts held down the region. This reached a breaking point with the horrific war in Liberia in 1990, which subsequently engulfed Sierra Leone. ECOWAS took the courageous decision to intervene and end the carnage by deploying the Economic Community of West African States Monitoring Group, ECOMOG, which has become a legend.
When the request for assistance to end the crisis was made, first by Liberia and then by ECOWAS to our influential partners, they refused to intervene on grounds that it was an African crisis. It was Nigeria and our other West African states which led the bold step to encourage intervention to stop the slaughter and genocide.
Well, it was a very challenging period for the entire sub-region, the ECOWAS sub-region. And as situation developed, what all of us observed was that if care is not taken, the whole situation of insecurity is going to spread throughout the West African sub-region.
Thousands of ECOMOG soldiers sacrificed their lives. The intervention also triggered the significant transformation of ECOWAS since it was founded with the ECOWAS revised treaty adopted in 1990 in Lomé, Togo. A political dimension was added to the objectives of the organization. The revised treaty also established the ECOWAS Parliament and ECOWAS Court, expanding the organization's governance framework to reflect the contemporary needs of the region. ECOWAS also developed a peace and security architecture for the region from the Liberian and Sierra Leone experience.
A lot of the conflicts here are caused by bad political governance, so that ECOWAS today is declaring zero tolerance for power obtained or maintained by unconstitutional means.
Over the years, ECOWAS proactively used its intervention powers to prevent humanitarian disasters and unconstitutional changes of government. ECOWAS enforced sanctions and undertook mediation efforts to safeguard democracy in Burkina Faso, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry, Côte d'Ivoire, the Gambia, Mali, and Niger Republic until the recent wave of coups. In 2016, there was the celebrated case of the Gambia. ECOWAS moved against then-President Yahya Jammeh for refusing to accept the outcome of the 2016 presidential election won by Adama Barrow. When diplomacy failed, ECOWAS mobilized and deployed the ECOWAS mission in the Gambia, ECOMIG, with forces drawn from Senegal, Ghana, and Nigeria to enforce its decision.
and ECOWAS were firm in their decision. That's why you have to leave.
ECOWAS has also been keeping an eye on the electoral process in all member states through its election monitoring exercises. Since 2006, the Commission has monitored all elections conducted in the region to ensure transparency. This way, ECOWAS has helped to preserve democracy in the region. This informed the ECOWAS response to the recent spate of coups in Guinea, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger Republic, as provided in the protocols subscribed to by all members. ECOWAS responded decisively to the unconstitutional change of government with sanctions and diplomatic pressure, and warned that it could apply force to restore civilian rule. The leaders subsequently reviewed their stance following the intervention of the region's elder statesmen and created room for a negotiated settlement in order to restore civil rule. However, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger Republic chose to exit the organization and establish the Alliance of Sahel States. ECOWAS has ensured that ordinary citizens do not suffer the consequences of political shifts, but continues to uphold its zero-tolerance policy for unconstitutional changes of government.
We stand against unconstitutional change of government in our sub-region, and we will continue to do so.
While contending with the present challenges, ECOWAS is already working towards shaping a stronger, more integrated West Africa. By investing in youth empowerment, technology, and regional collaboration, the organization is building a future that is inclusive. Nigeria continues to be the pillar of the organization, putting her resources behind the ECOWAS agenda.
Nigeria is the key driver of ECOWAS.
Nigeria is working to ensure that ECOWAS as a bloc integrates. So integration in terms of trade, integration in terms of customs union, ultimately integration in terms of monetary union, a common currency. So because the regional economic communities are the building blocks of the African Continental Free Trade Area.
As it celebrates its 50th anniversary, ECOWAS is also set to move to its new headquarters building in Abuja. It will house all its institutions, including the ECOWAS Parliament and the Community Court of Justice, in one location. It will considerably enhance the operational capacity of the Commission so it can drive the future aspirations of the region. It is a future that will be anchored on the considerable gains of the past 50 years as ECOWAS strives to make living in West Africa a much better and secure experience. From the socio-economic gains of free movement to its formidable strides in regional security and the preservation of democracy for good governance, ECOWAS can celebrate how far it has come in the 50-year journey of integration.
I think by and large, ECOWAS is really is an example to be copied by the world.
The composition of the bloc may be less, but they are focused and forging ahead together.
In honor of the dream of our founding fathers, we, the heads of state and government of the member states of the Economic Community of West African States, have signed this declaration, done at Lagos this 28th day of May 2025.
I welcome you all on behalf of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Nigeria, and ECOWAS to the birthplace of ECOWAS. Happy 50th anniversary.
Today, we have gathered here to celebrate 5 decades of regional solidarity, of standing side by side through times of hope and hardship, of building the most integrated regional economic community on the African continent. It is therefore my singular honor and privilege to welcome you to the Golden Jubilee anniversary of ECOWAS here in Lagos, Nigeria. 50 years ago, our founding fathers succeeded in overcoming numerous obstacles to establish the economic community of West African states. On exactly this day, the 28th May of 1975, and in this great city of Lagos, the founding...
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Okay, the room, the atmosphere and the energy in the room is a little too cold. I'd like to ask that you kindly give me the energy I'm giving you back. Good morning, distinguished guests. All right, thank you very much. I know that it's a bit of a tight morning. Saturdays in Lagos are for weddings, so we apologize for the traffic. And also because it's getting to the end of the year, people have started to come back into Lagos to celebrate what we call Dirty December, which, again, is a fantastic avenue for our nations to collaborate because, like we say here, there isn't a party like a Lagos party. I apologize, but I think everyone here needs... All the Lagosians, can we please give ourselves a round of applause? Yes. Okay, so I'm saying this so that those around them can know who to hold responsible for the turn-up that they will have after today. So the people that raised up their hands, they're going to host you. Distinguished guests, you're welcome to day 2 of the ECOWAS Trade and Investment Forum and Exhibition. Today is a continuation of day 1. Yesterday, we had the conversations about regional integration, and we also looked at, we're looking at collaboration. We looked at industrialization and what it truly means. Beyond building industries, we had our ambassadors join us yesterday, and we explored what the challenges are between our borders and how we can have a seamless integration from border to border, recognizing that we are one region, different countries, one region, which is what our leaders thought about in 1975 when they signed the Treaty of Lagos. And it's a collective responsibility that rests on our shoulders, every single person in this room, as together we build an ECOWAS of the people. So once again, I want to warmly welcome you. My name is Olive Emodi. I'm a TV host with New Central Television. I'm a lawyer, your master of ceremonies today, and very honored to be so. I want to say bonjour et bienvenue. And just to mention, our channels, if you like the translations, we have English in 1. For French, please press 2. For Portuguese, please press 3. All right? And if you'd like the headsets, please indicate. We have the headsets behind if you want translations. Also, to appeal to you that right after the event is done today, kindly return the headsets, as it is not a giveaway. It's just to be used temporarily. I can assure you, for those of us who were here yesterday, that today will be an even more interesting session as we'll be looking at the role of women. We'll be speaking to public-private partnership, MSME empowerment, and we're talking about women, and again, focusing on the creative sector. When you were walking in, I'm sure that you saw a number of the fashion brands. We're having a fashion show to wrap this grand 2-day celebration up. Now, without further ado, we'll be going straight into our first session for today, and we're looking at promoting inclusive trade, the role of MSMEs and women in trade. Now, this morning, we'll be looking at inclusivity and growth. Yesterday, one of the challenges highlighted by one of our ambassadors is lack of data, the underrepresentation of women, and even talking about the informal sector. So today, we're going to hear from those who have to experience this firsthand. And joining us to speak, I'll be welcoming the panelists. Please, like we did yesterday, all panelists, you sit from my right over to there, and the moderator sits at the extreme right of the stage. We're having a 45-minute session, and we're sticking strictly to time. So when you see me on stage, that means time up. But there's a screen behind you that you can watch to know your timing. I'd like to welcome the head of the Federation of Business Women Entrepreneurs, Nigeria chapter, an integral part of February Ecowas. She drives women's economic empowerment across West Africa by strengthening access to finance, business support, and regional trade opportunities for women-led businesses. Please, a round of applause for Princess Omotola Omole, the president of the Federation of Business Women Entrepreneurs. A round of applause for her. The applause is a little too cold. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. And our next panelist is the Executive Director of the Ecowas Small Business Coalition, ESBC, where she leads regional initiatives that strengthen the growth and competitiveness of SMEs across West Africa. Please join me as I welcome the Executive Director, Ecowas Small Business Coalition, Nebogo Egbo. You're welcome. Thank you. Up next, we have a senior development professional with GIZ, bringing extensive experience in international development, project management, and capacity building. He has played a role in programs that promote sustainable growth, strengthen institutions, and enhance regional cooperation. Please welcome with me Mr. Pascal Ononugbo. A round of applause. The next panelist we have is an accomplished agribusiness manager and specialist in agricultural marketing with strong expertise in market development, value chain optimization, and strategic leadership within Côte d'Ivoire's livestock, poultry, and dairy sectors. Please welcome with me Ms. Noel Yao as she joins us on stage. And our next panelist is someone who you also will be hearing from later when we're looking at the creative sector, as she'll be sharing from her expertise, and also she'll be displaying her fashion on the runway. She's a textile engineer trained, very, very trained, with a postgraduate degree in fashion and luxury management from the Institut Français de la Mode. Her early career spans production management and collection development for renowned global brands, and she has, of course, had high-impact emerging labels. Please, a round of applause as I welcome from the International Trade Center, Oceana Jonku, as she joins us. Thank you. And to moderate this panel session is a woman of influence as well, who I know has stirred conversations like this even beyond here. She's a social innovator with over 23 years of experience leading large-scale impact programs. As Executive Director of Faith Foundation, Nigeria's leading business incubator, she has driven initiatives that equip entrepreneurs with skills, mentorship, funding, and market access. Please welcome with me the CEO of Faith Foundation, Adenike Adeyemi. A round of applause for her. Thank you very much. This panel session will last for 45 minutes, after which we can take 1 or 2 questions. And we urge you to please participate. And if you'd like to share content on social media, use the hashtag Ecowas50. Over to you, moderator.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the introduction. And again, thank you to our panelists for what will be a very, hopefully illuminating, but action-setting conversation around the topic that we're going to have on promoting inclusive trade, looking at the role of MSMEs and women in West African trade. So to give some context, I mean, we've all talked about and we all know the role of micro, small, and medium enterprises in facilitating socioeconomic development. They're really the true engines of growth. They're responsible for over 90% of all the businesses, formally and particularly informal, that take place within the region and across the world. They're also responsible for 60% of employment, particularly within the region, even though a lot of this is also informal. They're held back because of issues around non-tariff barriers, complex regulatory landscape, and really gaps in capacity building, access to finance, and the opportunities that will make them really take advantage of trade for themselves, but also for the benefits of socioeconomic growth. We do see them dominating informal cross-border trade within the region. And more importantly, what's always interesting to see is the resilience that women-led MSMEs have despite the challenges that they face. And they disproportionately encounter significant difficulties that we experience here. And so what we want to talk about during the conversations today are the following 4 areas. We want to identify policy bottlenecks, whether the bottlenecks are from existing policies that are not implemented, or even an understanding or appreciation of the policies, or maybe even a review of the policies if required. We want to talk about the opportunities with enabling formalization for a lot of our women-led MSMEs. We want to talk about opportunities with relooking at financing or financing models that are already working that perhaps can be scaled. And we also want to make sure that we come out of this with looking at, thank you. We also want to make sure that we come out of this looking at recommendations that we all here as policymakers, as regional organizations, as development financial institutions, as private sectors, as business management membership organizations in different ways, and particularly for the entrepreneurs also here. What are the recommendations that we can take away from here? So we'll make sure that it's a very interactive 40-minute conversation. So thank you again to my panelists. And I think that to be able to set the context, I want to start the first round of questions with context setting. So context setting from policy, from cross-border stage, from financing, from market access issues, and from even creating sort of like hubs of support that's there. And then the next level of my questions will then focus on the way forward. If we're able to take a third round of questions, we'll see. So, Ogo, I'm going to start with you. You are already doing a lot of work with the ESBS, so maybe perhaps give us a view of what the organization is set to do. But more importantly, if you can speak of the existing policy frameworks on a very high level that are in place to facilitate trade for women-led MSMEs in the region and the challenges with the existing framework. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. It's a very interesting question. So I serve as Executive Director for Ecowas Small Business Coalition. And what we do, actually, our main mandate is to have trade integration within the Ecowas member states. And how do we do that? We realize that in wanting to achieve our goals for interregional trade, there are actually a lot of bottlenecks, like we would say. But then again, we don't have those bottlenecks because we don't have policies. We do have policies in place. But what our problems are is implementing those policies. And for nano small businesses, it's not about formalizing them, upscaling them. It's about the cumbersome certification, standards, registration requirement actually for them. It's a lot. There is no central place where they can come and start the registration. They have to deal with multiple agencies. And it differs from country to country. So in Nigeria, you'll be amazed how many agencies MSMEs have to deal with. I wouldn't say it's 5. I wouldn't say it's 6 or 7. It's in multiple, it's in double digits. And remember, you're dealing with people that are nano. So it means some of them don't have a lot of education. They got into the business not from wanting to meet a need for the community. It's to meet a need for themselves. It's a survival skill. And now they get into business to meet their own personal needs and community responsibility. And you tell them you need to register your business. You need to get this certification if you want to be trade expert, if you want to be able to sell your goods outside the traditional way of selling, outside your community, outside your states. And then these are the processes for you to go. Some of them are not even aware of the processes, and they want to start. Most MSMEs are women traders. And apart from being a trader, they are also primary caregivers of their homes. Mm-hmm. And we do have value and cultural system here. Mm-hmm. For a woman to leave her home, to say she's going to get her BVN, her NIN card, she has to make provisions for
the
her home
children.
before she leaves. She has to take permission from her husband before she leaves. And now she goes into town. She leaves her little community with no basic infrastructure. And she goes into town to get the basic thing to start with, to identify herself as a Nigerian, as an Ecowas member. And she gets there and the system is down. How do you want her to go back home and come back again to do that? So we do have a lot of craziness, apart from the revenue to get that. So the complex business registration, it's too much. We need to narrow it down and simplify it. The next one is the multiple with capital letter, multiple taxes and charges. And some of these charges and taxes, they don't make sense. They are illegal.
Yeah.
But it's based on our lack of infrastructure. If we have good infrastructures, we wouldn't have all of these taxes. We have different tariffs for different countries. Nigeria actually has the lowest as 7.5. Niger has 19%. So you don't have competitive advantage crossing anywhere. Then the charges and revenue taxations that you get, the moment you leave your house, you're taxed. There's different taxes, there's environmental taxes, there's local government taxes. And then we come to the border. You're being taxed. Informally.
Yes.
And why is that? Because a lot of traders don't have the right documentation in terms of the passport to use. But when I first started, I said, we do have policies on ground, but our issues is implementing them. We know that...
And the policies we have on ground is to ensure that there's better access and reducing the challenges.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But they are not being implemented properly.
Okay.
That's why all of these bottlenecks, we have them. So she goes to the border, she has a passport, or she doesn't have a passport. How many pages do you think it would last a woman who sells every day across the border? But you know what? We have the legal implementation tools for that. We have the ECOWAS MBIC, the ECOWAS National Biometric Identification Card. But it's not being in use. If we have that...
Why is it not being in use?
Because it's not properly implemented across the region. So we need regional harmonization to implement our policies.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you very much.
Nation.
Thank you. And thank you for giving us a view of where we are policy-wise, because what I'm hearing is that, yes, there are a lot of regulatory, policy, infrastructural bottlenecks. There are policies and provisions to help to de-risk that and to make it easier, but there are implementation issues. There's also knowledge issue or knowledge gap on the part of the women entrepreneurs to do that. So we'll come back.
Infrastructure too.
Yes, and infrastructure too. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank
you. I think to then take the examples, because you started to give us examples, to take it home, I'm going to move on to Princess. With the work Febway does, you have had practical experience and examples in those bottlenecks and the issues. And we started talking about them before this panel. So can you give us the context of the work that you do, but specific examples of just how these bottlenecks look like with inter-country trade, or rather regional trade?
Okay.
Thank you
very much. Yes, my name is Princess. I'm the president of Ecowas Business Women Nigerian chapter. We are all over the region, and our regional president is from Togo, while I'm the deputy vice president. The problem we encounter as a business women within the borders, first of all, is documentation. And because while women are not well informed, we have a problem with that. But of recent, like Madame Lelouk is here, she's our matron. She's an example of one of us that happened to get the 001 certification, the state of origin, to be able to transport goods within one country to the other. And as a woman, is a problem, too, to trade within the ECOWAS borders. Our semi-border Nigerian is very porous. We did the work with ITC 2 years ago, and between Seme and Cotonou, between Nigeria and Seme, Badagry, we used to have over 50 stops So you can imagine going through 50 stops to get to Seme. When you now get to Seme, you now have to face the agencies that come that, first of all, for a woman that looks good, you stand one side. That's an offense. So most times you have to come in a tattered clothes for you to be able to pass the borders. And there's a lot of money from women, and there's a lot of abuse. So like this year, I've been to Seme borders 4 times to meet with the agencies in charge. And thank God for the new controller at the Seme border. He had to help us to talk to the other agencies to reduce the problem we are having. So now we're having about 11 from 50.
I think that should be commended. From 50 to 11, the reduction in terms of the checks that are happening. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And we've been able to they've been able to approve that if you're coming as a February member through the borders, you have a free waiver. And
we have a free waiver.
Yes, to pass the borders. Okay. And secondly, they are trying to put down gender decks where women can lay their complaints. Because some women, when they're coming late from the different parts of the Ecowas region, some of them might be coming in the night, and that's very, very dangerous for them. They rape them, they steal their money, they will put them there for days, and some of their perishable items, they will lose it, yes. And we've been able to do a lot of sensitization within our women and their trainings. Like ITC is assisting, GIZ is doing that, training our women on packaging, training our women on access to finance, training our women on transborder trade, how they can trade between the borders, and certification too. We're trying to put them together, and we have a cooperative too. Like those women and the borders, we're trying to put them in a cooperative where they will just have one pass. They can go with it, and they come in every day through the borders. And we're able to do a lot within our women because we promote a lot of local content within the African region. We insist that you must put your products before. You see people producing things and they are putting made in China, even in Nigeria, and put made in Italy. Like those women in Aba, they've been able to, we were able to come together with a lot of them, and they are putting their product made in Nigeria. Cotonou, we put their own made in Seme, and we're able to do trade within our region. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Princess. Thank you. And I think we need to commend the work that February is also doing with regulatory and policy engagement, but also building the capacity of women to meet that. So I'm going to come next to Madam Yao. A lot of the work that you do is to help small business, micro and small business women be better ready for trade. Local trade and regional trade, including formalization and standards. In your experience, what are the challenges that you have seen that women entrepreneurs have in being able to take advantage of the opportunities with access to markets?
Ok, merci beaucoup de me donner cette opportunité de pouvoir m'exprimer sur nos différentes activités. Je suis de la Côte d'Ivoire. On a commencé une expérience au niveau de la frontière Côte d'Ivoire-Ghana. On a quand même commencé par vouloir poser un diagnostic. On voit que les politiques au niveau régional, au niveau national, il y a beaucoup de choses qui ont été faites pour les femmes et pour le commerce transfrontalier. Au niveau institutionnel, le diagnostic montre qu'il y a beaucoup de facilitations qui existent déjà au niveau des documents. Par exemple, le RICOS. Le RICOS, c'est un système, un régime de commercialisation simplifié. Les failles du diagnostic révèlent que l'information ne descend pas complètement au niveau des acteurs. Pour ne pas être toujours en mode réclamation, on s'est organisé au niveau des femmes pour avoir ce que nous appelons un bureau d'information aux douanes, pour rentrer dans le système, de tout l'écosystème du dédouanement. Et ça a porté ses fruits. On a ouvert ces bureaux-là au mois de mai dernier. Et il y a un secteur dont on ne parle jamais. Ce sont des femmes qui vivent au niveau des frontières. Elles ont un régime particulier. On a stratifié. Il y a les femmes qui ont des entreprises de taille moyenne qui font appel à des spécialistes du dédouanement qui sont les transitaires. Elles ont des problèmes différents. Il y a le petit commerce transfrontalier qui fait qu'elles n'ont pas accès à toutes les informations. Grâce à ce bureau, elles viennent au bureau, on leur dédramatise l'information, on leur permet de profiter de tout ce que l'institutionnel a déjà fait. Et la chance qu'on a eue, c'est que les douanes, au niveau de Noé, sont certifiées ISO. Ça veut dire que les douaniers ont besoin de documenter tout ce qu'ils font. On s'est inséré. Tous les 2 mois, on a une rencontre avec tous les acteurs du dédouanement. On a humanisé le système et ça profite largement aux intervenantes. Aujourd'hui, vous pouvez être à Abidjan, nous appeler pour un problème d'un de vos camions qui passe aux douanes. Ce n'est plus la grosse machine, on connaît le prénom du douanier qui s'en occupe, on connaît le visage du policier qui fait ceci, cela. On est devenu une famille au niveau du dédouanement à Noé. Nous avions aussi pris attache avec les chefs communautaires sur place pour leur parler du bienfait de tout ce que la CEDEAO a fait depuis 50 ans, afin que les frontières soient des ponts entre nous au niveau des différentes communautés de part et d'autre de la frontière. Et là, la communauté locale a voulu aider les femmes de sa région localement et nous a mis à disposition, nous a facilité, disons, l'accès au foncier. On a profité même de 2 hectares de terrain qui sont mis à disposition où on souhaiterait essayer de régler le problème spécifique des femmes qui vivent aux frontières. En pensant peut-être à des méthodes de duty, parce que faire 160 km depuis Abidjan avec à peine 50 kg de marchandises et chercher à passer une frontière, c'est peut-être un peu difficile. Mais si elle a accès à des magasins qui sont au poste frontière, on améliore l'incoterm qu'elle doit utiliser. Donc, elle peut venir faire du stockage. Et on tend la main de la même manière aux autres sœurs qui sont de l'autre côté de la frontière. Et tout ça, chaque 2 mois, nous faisons des réunions aussi bipartites avec les agents de dédouanement au poste le côté ghanéen et la même chose au niveau du côté frontière. Aujourd'hui, on se tutoie, on se parle. Et on arrive maintenant à profiter de tout ce que la CEDEAO a mis en place et spécialement ce qui a été mis en place pour faciliter les dédouanements, ce qu'on appelle les régimes simplifiés. On a même fait des formations avec les douaniers de Côte d'Ivoire, les douaniers aussi du Ghana. Et là, on est vraiment très, très content de ce type d'expérience. On est en train de faire des études d'impact qu'on espère pouvoir fournir au premier trimestre 2026. Voilà à peu près résumé l'expérience qu'on est en train de conduire en ce moment.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you. And we look forward to the impact assessment. I think a lot of what is also important when you have case study examples like yours, you've talked about the importance of, first of all, simplifying all the regulatory requirements from the forms to the information, but also the training and the capacity building required for the customs officials to be able to properly engage and deal with the demographics for our informal women. But one of the things you've also talked about, and I know that Princess also spoke about it, was how do you also provide like a storage space that helps to de-risk their market access issues. So because the goods may spoil in transit and the process, so you're creating some sort of maybe a cold room to be able to preserve and conserve the goods in a distance and location that reduces the journey that they have to make. Thank you very much. And so our gentleman will be last, but that is very deliberate. So I'm going to come to you, Chancellor. And the reason I'm going to come to you is that what your program is doing, it's sort of solving and aggregating and solving for the different issues we've spoken about. That how do you create like a centralized process where you bring together women in the same value chain and help to address their supply and demand needs. So can you speak to why you set up the program and some of your focus objectives for that program? Thank you.
So Ethical Fashion Initiative is working mostly with women in textile and fashion. In the region, hand waving, it was more a men's job. So some country really transit to make it also a job for women. And what they like is we build hubs so they can connect. They're not working at home. Even the spinning, they connect, they come, they go to office, and they can exchange. So an example, in north of Benin, there are 9 scoops in really different area in Benin. But together, when there is opportunities like this trade, they come together, and they come together as a GIE, un groupement d'intérêt économique, so they can source cotton. For example, the sourcing of cotton is an issue. In Benin, you have cotton, but the mills are not offering the yarns for the artisans. It's for industrial purpose. So they have to get the yarn from Burkina Faso. Same for Côte d'Ivoire, there is cotton, but not yarns available. So being together, they manage, but it's harder and harder to get the cotton. They even exchange with group of women, that will buy the cotton and send it to them. And now at the border, it's getting more and more complicated. I'm happy because I see that the 2 ladies from Benin just arrived, so we can give them a voice. We do capacity building. We build a place to meet and exchange because it's not only about the work. They also exchange about everyday life. And they come to fair like today. And, we are international trade center. So when we started the international trade, we started 15 years ago, Ethical Fashion Initiative. It was mainly brand from Europe, from Japan, from US, but today it's also a lot of local, like regional brands that source from regional producer. And those brands are also women. You will see when you go out, most of the brands present are led by women. So this is what we are facilitating, but they're here and they can speak.
Fantastic, and we will definitely make sure that we have one of the women entrepreneurs, fashion entrepreneurs, speak at this point. But I think what's important to emphasize, you're focusing on ethical fashion in certain countries, but more importantly is that you're providing input products for them, so whether it's the cotton, the byproducts that they need to then spin the wheels, you help to support with equipment and machinery, you help to provide capacity development, and you also provide access to market. So you provide the opportunities for them to market their finished products to larger brands that may then need it. Thank you. So, Pascal, you are in the middle, well, intentionally or unintentionally for a reason, not just because you're the man, and that wasn't how it was designed, I'm just joking on that. But more importantly, in all the conversations we're having is the issue around finance. So if we look at the government side, part of the challenges a lot of our women are facing in access to trade is that state and non-state actors are fleecing them for money, whether it's tax, levies, and the right. But on the other hand, a lot of our MSME women are not also able to access the capital structures in place. We had a conversation just before the panel around how there's so, if you ask any financial institution, their gender desk, their women banking products, but there's something wrong between the products and the women that they're meant to serve. What are we missing? What is the problem?
Thank you. And indeed, I'm blessed amongst women. So I would say, even before going into government, going into the dynamics of government and private actors, I think the disenfranchisement of women when it comes to access to finance starts from birth.
Okay.
Where I come from, when you give birth to a male child, you plant a palm tree. What happens to the female child? Which means from birth, I've already been collateralized. I could go to the local lender to say, give me some money, whatever comes off my palm tree is yours. Now moving into contemporary financing, again, there's a lot of lip service going on. I used to work in that sector, and my first year, looking at the guarantee portfolio, first of all, if there was like 100 billion naira worth of portfolio, it was only amongst a maximum of 20 companies. So why are you guaranteeing companies that already have
the financing?
The financing, why are you guaranteeing someone who is on Forbes list?
Structures, yes.
So we have these structures were created for small businesses and, SMEs and women-owned businesses, which is why I've now decided to move to this other side of things where I could now be hands-on in creating products for women. And what we've started doing, of course, GIZ with the Ecowas Commission, is to start bringing some level of intentionality. That is what is missing, because talk is cheap.
Okay.
Everyone comes to say, oh, we have women products or specific products for women. It's just like wooing a lady, and when it's time to show up, you know the story. So now, starting with the Ecowas Bank, for example, this bank has the mandate to boost development finance in the region. I didn't even know about the Ecowas Bank until I joined GIZ, which means the message is not out there. But with this our new approach, we are pushing them to say, you have to work. It is not enough for you to give lines of credit to financial institutions and sit back to wait for top-line profit. What happens to distribution? What happens to impact on the field? So leaving all those lines of credit, just about in July this year, we did some capacity building. Now, our approach is not just building capacities of SMEs or borrowers. It's both on the supply and the demand side. On the demand side, yes, we'd always have webinars and trainings for SMEs trying to make them financeable. But on the supply side, with the Ecowas Bank, we designed a product leveraging the Fund for Rural Agriculture and Food. And now 14 banks have been lined up to get some monies. We're piloting in January to on-lend to SMEs, starting with those in agribusiness.
Yeah. So a question, what did you change about the product design that was different from what existed in the market?
So what has changed now, number one, is the monitoring end of it. You don't give money to a bank and sit back. So we've told the Ecowas Bank, if you are on-lending to this, or if you are giving lines of credit to these banks, GIZ could use its field structure to ensure that the money gets to the last mile and doesn't just float on the bank's balance sheet. So,
okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you again I'm happy to hear that and say that there's a relook at financing product design. So in the second round of questions for all my panelists, I'm going to leave it open to you to respond, to say what are the top 2 maximum important priorities that you think we need to take away from here. And as you are responding, let's know who you're addressing. Are you addressing the women entrepreneur groups or women entrepreneurs that are here? Are you addressing policymakers? Are you addressing ECOWAS? Are you addressing the government? So please let us know not more than 2, but very succinctly, what are the important priorities and action points that will help us better facilitate trade for women-led MSMEs in the ECOWAS region? And I'm going to start again with Olga. Thank you.
Thank you. So for me, I always address ECOWAS because it's my ecosystem. We want ECOWAS to help us have a more, how should I put it, like friendly, upscaling way of implementing. I know ECOWAS do not implement, but help us with our regional harmonization of our policies. Let's all get it right. There are some of the certifications and standards that mirror themselves across the region. We can pull all of them together so we can have like a single entry ecosystem in formalization, in certification, simplify it, make everything as simple as possible. And it won't be trying to upskill MSMEs anymore from informal to formal. They will be formal because they know that that's the mandate of moving forward. There's so much technology out there. You move from your traditional way of doing your business to the world is a global village now. There's AI, there's market e-hubs. To get all of that, you need to have all your documentation ready to be able to access all the available funds. You need to have documentation to say who you are. And how do you do that? Simplify it for us, and we'll be there.
Thank you. Thank you. Very succinct. Thank you. Princess.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Are you hearing me? Okay.
Yes, we can.
I know ECOWAS, back to the ECOWAS. The access to finance is a big problem for women-owned businesses. And I know ECOWAS can help us address it by talking to some banks, at least EcoBank, that if you're coming from Fairway and if we can meet the requirements, they can assist to get finance for women to do their businesses. Then secondly, we need a lot of training for our women, a lot of advocacy, because most of them are informal traders. So we need you to help us do regional trainings from one country to another to bring our women together, to help them, train them on how to do their documentation, put their products together so that we'll be able to move our goods within the ECOWAS region and let them implement the documentations as my second year said, that we should have one free document waiver that all ECOWAS countries can use instead of the multiple documentation from each country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Can I probe a bit further on the training that you said? Because sometimes a lot of women say they don't need more training. So what else can be different in the trainings that already exist? Because there's baseline training as a whole, but there's training that can then take you to really be able to trade beyond borders. And sometimes I feel there's a gap that's there. So what else can be different within the trainings, within the design of the training and the implementation of the training? Because personally, in my view, if the training does not make you trade across borders, it's just an additional knowledge you've added.
Yes, it does. Mm-hmm. If you know the right training, like I've told you that Madam Leluk is one of an example. Yes. Mm-hmm. If you meet the right requirements, yes. Enough for when you say women business. Mm. Men do it. Why can't women do it? Mm. You say the informal women, you can't bring them. You can bring them. Those are women, a lot of them, they have you don't have any, you can't put that. There are many percent. But we're able to bring them into cooperatives. Business language is language for all. Even if we don't understand ourselves, we're able to discuss when you talk about money and translate it and they understand. So when you meet training, yes, the training, they have the trainings that will make you qualify as to have the certification, like the state of origin, to be able to trade within the ECOWAS region. It's very, very possible. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I'll go quickly.
One in. For training, you have to give them the reason why you're training them. Yeah. Because first of all, they are living their business that day. Yeah. And they don't work, they don't eat.
They don't.
So there must be a benefit for that training.
Yeah.
If I'm training you on ETLS, I'm telling you, come today, come for this training. Tomorrow, instead of selling in your community, you would sell across the board. And how do you do that? Come for this training, and hopefully we would get financing from the DFIs to pay for those certifications. So why wouldn't they? They'll be there and they would listen and they would pass. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So, Madame Yao, over to you.
Alors, merci encore de me redonner la parole. Moi, je m'adresserai d'abord aux femmes pour dire que 50 ans, ça commence à faire des cheveux blancs. Donc, dans la stratification au niveau des femmes, il y a celles qui savent déjà, il y a celles qui savent un peu et il y a celles qui ne savent pas du tout. Donc, je souhaiterais qu'on puisse se mettre ensemble au niveau de nos pays. On parle toujours d'impact. Mettons-nous ensemble au niveau de nos différents pays et après, mettons-nous en réseau pour déjà profiter de ce que la maison a fait pendant 50 ans. Commençons par le commencement. Si on arrive à se parler, nous ne sommes pas, on fait pitié, on est pauvre, on n'a pas d'argent. Quand on fait du commerce, on a de l'argent. Le banquier ne vient pas nous aider, Il vient nous vendre son argent parce que nous allons rembourser avec des intérêts. Habillons-nous, habillons nos activités pour que les mariés là soient jolis à regarder et envier. Mettons-nous ensemble, organisons-nous en réseau. Vous allez voir qu'au niveau institutionnel, 50% de nos problèmes ont déjà été réglés. Si la Côte d'Ivoire, le Sénégal, le Nigeria, les femmes de ces associations organisées, nous venons devant monsieur et nous disons que vous faites de nous des esclaves modernes en nous mettant en rang devant une microfinance. Non, nous sommes organisés, nous savions, apprenez-nous à faire ce qu'on appelle la garantie solidaire. Ils sauront faire, nous apprendre à faire aussi du banking. Nous ne sommes pas si pauvres que ça. Quand vous parlez du secteur informel, être informel ne rend pas les gens idiots. Nous sommes informels parce qu'on retient notre argent, on ne veut pas vous donner. Alors, qu'est-ce que vous nous donnez en retour pour qu'on se formalise? L'informel produit. On sourit quand vous dites que vous n'avez pas toutes nos statistiques. On ne va pas vous les donner si on n'échange pas. Le commerce, c'est de l'échange. Donc, les femmes, organisons-nous. Ils vont aller nous chercher pour revenir encore à la CEDEAO. Organisons-nous par pays et faisons un réseau des femmes au niveau de la CEDEAO. C'est ce que je voulais dire.
Yes. I'm very happy to hear that round of applause, very passionately said. And for me a lot, I like how you ended, that there's also that power that our women have together. There's value that sometimes is not appropriately communicated, even to the financial providers, to understand that doing business with them is also growing their own business in so many ways. But you also started with saying that even women groups should make sure that they work towards meeting the required minimum standards that are there, whether it's product development, certification, standards, whatever it is, so that we're at least we've done, like you said, half of the journey before we then start to meet with the financial providers and other sorts. There was also something you also pointed to, that sometimes the financial need is not just in the cash to the business. It's in the financing to be able to support the regulatory and the certification processes, which can be very expensive in themselves too. Thank you very much. Over to you, please. Thank you.
Me, I will address to everyone. Mm-hmm. I think it's the first panel where we have women on this stage. So, I would have liked to see more women yesterday. Mm-hmm. And I want to encourage my sister and also myself to be a bit more bold and, to speak for themselves. And this is what I want to say. We need to give us room, but we also need to take it for us. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. So please clap, Madam Lulu. So in terms of what she said, can you have one of your women here? Mm-hmm. Can we have one of them just speak very briefly about their business and what your support has done, very, very briefly. So I'll let you do the introduction. Thank you.
Jeanne? Oui, vous voulez parler?
Because it's always important to put faces and names to the statistics we talk about. If there are programs that are working and delivering,
okay, vous
yes,
pouvez vous lever.
You can come forward. Yeah.
Je parle, je me lève. Je me lève ou je m'assois?
Lève-toi.
Bonjour, chers tous.
Bonjour.
Nous sommes ici présentés, invités par Ecowas, par le biais de ITC Burkina. Nous sommes une coopérative qui travaille. On est 9 soucoupes au nord Bénin. Et puis nous transformons le coton bio qui est cultivé sans intrants, sans engrais. Nous faisons la filature, le tissage et beaucoup d'autres produits par le coton. Mais au Bénin, on n'a pas la facilité d'avoir le coton. On n'a même pas accès au coton. On l'achète du Burkina. Pour traverser la frontière et l'amener jusqu'au Bénin, vraiment, c'est tout je ne sais pas comment l'expliquer, c'est vraiment très dur. Nous prenons aussi le coton à Accra, mais nous traversons souvent les frontières ghanéennes, togolaises, mais arrivé dans notre propre pays, on dit qu'on est la CEDEAO, mais c'est difficile de pouvoir l'amener et le transformer. Voilà, on a beaucoup de difficultés, même au niveau de la teinture. Nous avons les produits bio qui nous viennent de l'extérieur, toujours par le biais du Burkina. On n'a pas la facilité d'avoir ces couleurs pour pouvoir vraiment teinter nos fils, nos pagnes que nous touchons. Nous avons eu la chance de faire beaucoup de formations et puis nous produisons les produits. Mais comment faire pour les faire sortir et nous faire connaître, c'est un grand souci pour nous. Même si on a des produits finis que nous transformons, on n'a pas la facilité de pouvoir les faire sortir dans des foires et nous faire connaître. Voilà un peu les difficultés que nous avons. Merci.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your experience. Commendations to the ITC. And thank you for bringing sort of the practical issues that are at stake, just even looking at that value chain. How do you source? How do you get to the source? How do you produce? How do you get everything that needs you to make the byproduct that you do? How do you get yourselves together to learn from each other? And then how do you trade and sell it and derive revenue from that? Thank you, and wishing you all the best. Thank you. So to Pascal, last but definitely not the least, thank you.
Thank you. So for me, I would want to address my concern to the financing institutions. First, given the nature of women-owned businesses, they need to begin to consider the use of non-movable assets for risk guarantee. Work strongly with things like cross-guarantee, documents. Look, moving beyond KYC into KYN, that's know your neighbor. So once a cooperative says, these are our members, then it's easy for them to, there's due diligence and they can then disburse to them. Simple applications could work. I've seen something online called the Coop Hub.
Call the
Coop Hub.
Coop Hub.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
cooperative hub.
Okay.
So banks could leverage such digital innovations to, to lend to small businesses, especially those owned by women.
Yes.
That's all I have
Thank
to say.
you. Thank you very much. I think what I'll add to that is that to speak on implementation, particularly for Nigeria, it will be good to see the implementation of the movable assets collateral registry, because that's what it is meant to address. How do you look at other assets that are non-cash assets? So whether your equipment, if you're in the fashion space and you have, there are a lot of expensive machines that people get, those should form as aids to help you in terms of capital access. And if that's fully implemented and there's a centralized hub where capital providers can see that, evaluate the assets and use that to make financing decisions, I think that it will go a long way. Thank you. Yes, thank you. So, okay, one more thing. Okay.
I wanted to say our NIN should be able to suffice for form of identification across the board.
So, in fact, in addition to the NIN, is also the credit reporting, the credit data that's linked to that. I do know that there's work going on, at least for the Nigerian market. So NIN is the Nigerian Identification Number, which is like your centralized data number for Nigerian citizens, and it's being connected to the BVN, and there's a lot of work done. I'm speaking specifically for Nigeria now, to centralize all these data identities and numbers, number one, but for financing, to then connect it with your financial identity and credit record, almost like your social security number for those who have a sense of how the US works, where once people put in their social security number, it gives you a view of your credit profile. There is some work going on there, that I know, but it should be fast-tracked so that at the end of the day, if I put in my NIN, it just gives me a credit profile. So whether a large bank loans to me or is a credit association that loans to me, or Ecowas gives some form of a credit guarantee, all of that data is centralized there. Thank you very much. I know there are two ladies raising their hands up. I will, if there's time for questions, we'll take, but I'm going to Ego to let me know if I can take questions and if we can. Yes. How many questions? Oh, fantastic. Great. So, just 2. Okay. So, she raised her hands up first. I saw that. So, I will ask her to take one, and then the gentleman here one. If we can take another one, I'll come to you. Thank you. Please, very quickly, your name and your question and who you are addressing the question to. Thank you.
Bonjour tout le monde et merci à nos vaillants panélistes pour les différents exposés que vous venez de nous faire. Moi, je suis Madame Aïda Top, je suis sénégalaise et j'évolue dans la transformation laitière et dans la transformation des produits locaux, mais 100% naturels, sans additifs chimiques ni conservateurs. Je peux dire que beaucoup parmi nous qui sommes là, nous buvons, nous consommons aussi des boissons, du lait, alors qu'on ne prend même pas la peine de regarder la composition. Dans la composition, il y a des E200 quelque chose, E300, E400. Ce sont des additifs chimiques qui sont nuisibles pour la santé. Nous, en tant que femmes, de la CEDEAO. Je ne parlerai pas des femmes du Sénégal, mais je parle en général.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I want you to quickly go to your comment or question because of time. Thank you.
Nous avons des produits périssables. J'aurais bien aimé que le produit fabriqué au Sénégal, la boisson naturelle fabriquée au Sénégal soit consommée par le Nigeria. Mais il y a des problèmes. C'est un problème de liquide. D'ailleurs, dans l'avion, on n'accepte pas que le liquide passe. L'exemple que je peux donner, en venant, j'ai payé énormément d'argent. Non seulement à cause du poids, mais aussi on me dit que ce sont des liquides, ça ne passe pas. La CEDEAO aussi fait beaucoup d'efforts pour appuyer les femmes. Mais cet effort-là, ces contributions-là ne descendent pas à la base. À la base, c'est-à-dire chez nous, les actrices. Nous ne voyons pas ce que la CEDEAO fait parce que si la CEDEAO investit l'argent au niveau des banques, on a d'énormes difficultés avec les banques, avec les taux d'intérêt qui sont excessivement élevés. Ils nous demandent aussi des garanties. Alors là, on n'est pas prêt d'aller vers les banques. Si la CEDEAO peut venir directement avec nous, travailler avec nous, surtout pour le problème de l'emballage. Nous faisons des produits qui sont de très bonne qualité, mais on a un problème d'emballage. Il faut qu'ils nous aident à avoir des sociétés qui fabriquent des emballages pour nous permettre de ne pas dépenser encore pour aller en Chine pour acheter des emballages pour nos produits. Je vous remercie.
Yes. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you. So, Ogo, because you are wearing the Ecowas hat here, in terms of the small business support, you'll respond to that. Thank you. So the gentleman there. Yes, please.
Bonjour, merci madame. Je viens de la Côte d'Ivoire. Je suis Ouattara Diakalia, directeur exécutif de la plateforme pour le développement économique, social et culturel de la Côte d'Ivoire, en abrégé PEDEXI. Merci pour les exposés. Ma question s'adresse à la dame, à la première intervenante. Dans votre exposé, vous avez soulevé des goulots d'étranglement auxquels les femmes se retrouvent face. Et parmi ces goulots d'étranglement-là, vous avez parlé des impôts. Alors, est-ce à dire que vous voulez qu'il y ait une discrimination positive à l'égard des femmes ou bien pas d'impôts? Si tel est le cas, est-ce que ce n'est pas une épine que vous voulez mettre dans les pieds des États parce que sans impôts, l'État ne peut pas vivre? Voilà. Merci. Vous m'avez compris?
Okay.
Vous n'avez pas compris?
Okay, so I didn't get everything. He did say I spoke on taxes.
Yes. So it's saying that what's your suggestion or recommendation around? Is it to completely eliminate the tax?
Oh, no. We need
or to create a fund where the financing to be able to pay for the taxes will be there?
Okay. Hi. So I did say we had different multiple revenues source for collecting taxes from MSMEs. We need to integrate all of them and not have different taxes from different places. And in terms of tariffs, for some reason, the ECOWAS member states, they have different tariffs for different states. Nigeria don't have the lowest. We have 7.5. Like I said, Niger has 19, Cape Verde 18. So those are their own taxes for coming in. And apart from that, they have levies, transportation levies, security levies, and they're different. And when I say to harmonize all of these, so we all have competitive advantage when we actually come to the platform of selling, to market. Not I come with my goods and I have to pay 18%, and while you come to Nigeria to sell, you only pay 7.5%. So we need ECOWAS to look into it. And what? VAT. Yes, sorry, thank you. The VAT. And to harmonize everything. And let's have it transparent for everyone at the same time. Good?
Yeah.
Did I answer his question?
Yes.
Then for the lady there, unfortunately, is our infrastructural problem and quality standard. But we would always keep working on our quality standard. And now with green economy, we have to focus on biodegradable products and packaging. So we are doing all of that. As ESBC, we keep looking for companies who do all of this. There is Pack Care. They actually have like exhibitions every year where we have opportunities for packaging, for quality management. It's all in the works. We hear you, but unfortunately at the borders, we don't have good infrastructures. Not talking about cold chain infrastructures for them. So unfortunately, but what we need to work on is the amount of time that is legally acceptable for an MSME to be at the border. How long will the immigration, the custom, the agency keep you at the border? Yeah. You'll be able to calculate how long your processing time is going through the border with your product. So you can pack yourself, even if you have to use an ice pack, a bag.
So if you know you are going to wait for 5 hours, you know that your product shelf life must be
But sometimes you never know, because sometimes you would have all your papers correct, and you're still kept at the border for
that
different reasons.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Last word,
Thank
and
you.
then we close out. Yes.
Hello. Okay, to our ECOWAS people, please, I want to plead on behalf of our women in February that you should help us sponsor regional trade fair within the ECOWAS region, so that every country will come together in one of the ECOWAS region every year to have a trade fair where we can sell our product within ourselves and interact. That will give us a lot of exposure within ourselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we've had a lot of conversations around simplifying information, documentation, simplifying of the policy process, communicating it in the language that all the different stakeholders can understand. We've talked about the looking at financing, both from the supply and demand perspective, and making sure that there's a value proposition also being presented to women to also understand that they also make the value they bring even to financial providers is perhaps even more than the reverse. We've talked about different examples of bringing together opportunities to aggregate support in different ways, but to share learning, to share understanding. And I think at the end of the day, there's a lot of policies and programs in place. People don't know about it. People don't understand it. And the monitoring and evaluation of the impact of these policies can be better. So even the example you gave, if this process is going to take me so long, let me know. And what you're then measuring the regulators or the people at the borders are, it's in the ability to make sure that that's the maximum amount of time that they take. Thank you all for listening to us. We're done. Thank you. And
Thank you very much. Can we
panelists.
applaud this panel? Unfortunately, we will not be able to take more questions, but we'd like to please ask for the panel to rise up for a group picture first, after which I will welcome our ECOWAS ambassadors. I want to use this opportunity to specially thank our ambassadors for joining us. Your Excellencies, thank you for being here with us on day 2. We acknowledge your presence and we're deeply grateful to have you spend today with us. So right after the panel takes a picture, we'll have our ECOWAS ambassadors join us, as well as our director, join us on stage for a picture with the panelists right before we go into the next panel session. Your Excellencies, if you may please join us on stage now for a group picture with the panelists. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Can we please give them a big round of applause? Thank you very much, Your Excellencies, and thank you to our panelists for joining us. May I now use this opportunity to say a very big thank you to a number of people whom I had thanked yesterday, but I want to use this opportunity to give them a proper thank you as well. I'd like to recognize our institutional partners. I want to say a big thank you to EBID. Thank you so much to the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development. I want to recognize the ECOWAS Trade Promotion Organization Network. Thank you for being one of our institutional partners. iPowers, thank you so much. The Investment Promotion Agencies of West African States. We also want to acknowledge the Ministry of Foreign Affairs here in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you so much. We want to recognize the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. We also want to recognize the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. We want to recognize the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, NIPC, and definitely the 2025 Lagos International Trade Fair. Thank you very much for being our institutional partners. We also want to say a big thank you to our very proud sponsor, JAR Multi-Industrial Company. Can I please ask that we give them a round of applause? Thank you so much. Thank you to the Fashion Showcase and the media houses. We get a feel of the Fashion Showcase in a moment. All right? We'll be moving straight to our next panel session, and we've had the first session that has spoken about, a number of these barriers and made suggestions to the ECOWAS, and I know that these suggestions are not being taken lightly. But now our next panel session is about collaboration between public and private sectors, and you will agree that this is a subject matter that impacts our economies. So please join me as I welcome our panelists. We have the Executive Director, Federation of West African Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Aminu Akadiri. Please, a round of applause as he joins us on stage. Please join and sit. So, as I mentioned earlier, panelists, you sit from this way down, and the moderator sits at my extreme right. Thank you very much. So please start, and then everyone starts to sit after you. Thank you very much, sir. And we also have joining us the Chief Executive Officer of FOPAO, where he leads the organization's efforts to strengthen performance and advance its strategic priorities across West Africa. A round of applause for Hussaini Diallo as he joins us on stage. Thank you very much, sir. And up next, we have an accomplished engineer, entrepreneur, and the national president of the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines, and Agriculture, NASIMA. We have the national president of the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines, and Agriculture, NASIMA, engineer Dr. Jani Ibrahim, who's represented today by the second deputy president of NASIMA, Ashiwaju Dr. Michael Olawale Cole. A round of applause for him. Thank you, sir. And joining us is the Regional Integration Coordinator at the African Development Bank, Nigerian Country Department, where she leads regional integration initiatives focused on trade facilitation, agribusiness, and cross-border operation. Please join me as I welcome Ms. Ometere Omoluabi Davis as she joins us on stage. Our next panelist is a Gambian entrepreneur and the founder CEO of Jar Oil Multi-Industrial Company, one of the Gambia's fastest growing diversified enterprises. Please join me as I welcome Hamidou Jar, who is represented by Mr. Momodu Haidara from Jar Multi-Industrial Company Limited from the Gambia. Thank you very much. And our next panelist is the Chief Executive Officer of Côte d'Ivoire Export, where he leads national efforts to expand the country's export capacity and enhance its global competitiveness. Please join me to welcome the CEO of Côte d'Ivoire Export, Fadija Kalachi, who is represented by the Technical Advisor, Côte d'Ivoire Export, Mark Mobio Loba. A round of applause for him. And moderating this session is a certified public-private partnership specialist with over 20 years of experience in regional infrastructure development across Ecowas. Please join me as I welcome the Ecowas Project Preparation and Development Unit, Olumuyiwa Shokumbi, as he joins us for this. And to mention again, we're sticking strictly to time. We'll take one question, and to mention to the moderator, the time for the question is also infused into your timer. So please help us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olive. And once again, good morning, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this very important session on PPPs, strategies for strengthening collaboration between the public and the private sector. Permit me, if you will. The US President John F. Kennedy, he once made a remark saying, American roads are not good because America is rich. America is rich because American roads are good. I'll let that sink in a little bit. So this statement captures a real, very important truth, that infrastructure is not a byproduct of prosperity, but a strategic investment that creates prosperity. It underscores the critical role of quality infrastructure in driving economic growth, competitiveness, and ultimately peace and stability in our region. The previous session underscored this issue, and in recognition of this very critical issue, Ecowas heads of states and government adopted in December 2021 the Regional Infrastructure Master Plan, which is a 25-year plan, an ambitious $131 billion framework for developing priority projects across the region in the transport, energy, ICT, and water sectors. Alongside this, they also endorsed the regional PPP policy and guideline to promote private sector participation. This will be very interesting to all of us here, in regional infrastructure development and delivery, so that we can close the infrastructure financing gap in our region. So this session focuses, as Olive has mentioned, on ways to explore actionable strategies to strengthen collaboration between the public and the private sectors, addressing policy, institutional, procedural, and financing challenges that hinder effective PPP implementation. Our goal, dear guests, is to identify pathways that can accelerate infrastructure development, support the operationalization, particularly of the Ecowas trade liberalization scheme, unlock the full potential of the ACFTA, African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, yes. So, our panelists, I have a distinguished group of panelists, and I'm sure that we'll be able to deal with this, the questions at hand. But to help us set the tone, the Ashiwadu will, on behalf of NASEMA, make a short presentation or give a brief presentation that will tease out the issues that we'll discuss around policy advocacy, strategic collaboration with government, and facilitation of dialogue that will allow PPPs to prosper and grow and enable us to achieve the regional goals of this community. Your Excellency, you have the floor.
Asima, we are very particular about this topic and also about Ecowas and in specific AFCFTA, in the sense that we are the umbrella chamber of commerce in Nigeria, organizing all the other chambers, bilateral and trade chambers in Nigeria. So we are in control of all of them. We coordinate all their efforts towards actualizing the dreams of our forefathers in the areas of ECOWAS and in particular AFCFTA. A very important issue that we must look at in our environment in Africa to actualize the potentials of us bringing in capital for infrastructure development in our region. We must look at the issue of government reforms, government policies, and government strategies in relation to sustainability and also being predictable. A number of times, we have policy somersaults. We have policy inconsistencies. And these things are not quite useful when it comes to investors looking from outside or even from within to put in their money for PPP. It's very, very important. So my own idea is that we should place, after these sessions we are doing at this trade fair, we should try and coordinate all our thoughts and suggestions and send forth to relevant authorities who will help in implementing our suggestions. We should not make this few days here a day or days of just talking. It should be a day that we use to galvanize our efforts to help Africa. Let me say very clearly, Africa will not make progress unless Africans are prepared to make progress. We must be deliberate in what we are doing. And therefore, this program here and the ones that will follow to the end of this, trade fair will help us to galvanize our thoughts together and submit to authorities what our thoughts are and what we think they should do to help. So that is the first part I'm looking at, the area of policy somersaults, policy consistency, and policies not being allowed to stay. And therefore, you cannot predict how long you can plan your businesses. Even for local investors, if you have your funds in a country, you might think of investing the money anywhere else outside Africa. They're not quite confident that your money will bring you value in your own continent because you are in business. So that's very key. Another area, my moderator, we must look also at our issue of contracts. The integrity of our contracts in Africa is very key. Let me show the legal systems are right and probably put together so you can be sure that if you bring your funds in, you are protected about what happens about your funds. Maybe I should stop there since I was told I have only a few minutes to kick off this discussion. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Ashwaju. I really appreciate that, the teaser, because I think at some point in time, members of the parliament will have to look at this issue about policy consistency, harmonization that allows us to have a predictable framework for business in the region. And then, the rule of law has to be respected. That's what gives confidence to investors. I think this will be a good time. Omutere, please permit me to start to go. I wanted to do ladies first, but I think you will talk about something that I want to pretty much cap it all for them. So I will consider you somewhere in the middle. Ambassador Aminu, I'm going to take it off from here because we're going from Nasima. Let's go regional now. So, can you tell us how is FEWASI facilitating cross-border collaboration amongst national chambers to strengthen regional trade and investment? I mean, you can hop on what Ashiwaju has started with, and then you can build that on the regional scope. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I should start from what my elder just said, because anything that I will say here is from my president, and I'm bringing to you all the greeting from my president, Mr. Pamatoué. We commend ECOWAS, we commend LCCI for organizing this. I'm every day happy to be here because the FEWASI journey starts from here. Dr. Chief Henry Fadja Miroku, they are the one who started FEWASI. He was our first president here in Nasima. And what he said is that regional integration starts and finish at the border. That is my first quote. The second quote is from President Jondo. If you want to speak about infrastructure within the region, we need to have a strong private sector coming together, a strong technical partner supporting, and a very good participation of our government. So we have a very good PPP model set up since 1984 that helps us to create a community enterprises. And the last quote that I will do is for Mr. Silla, the new commissioner that we appreciate, we welcome him. He said when in the region, ECOWAS' role is to sign agreements everywhere in the world, but private sector to implement. So based on the three quotes, we in FEWASI, our main role is to promote trade, investment across the border, and also access to market. That's mainly what we are doing. So the real role of chambers of commerce, His Excellency Ashadi just set it up, but we need to recognize that within the region, we have a very good policy protocol on the free movement of person, free movement of goods, and the right establishment. Adding to that one, we have the ECOWAS policy and a protocol on investment code. That one gives the structure to how we can use or how we can bring for an investor to invest in regional infrastructure. So what we do at FEWASI is to make sure that we sensitize, we inform our members. That is one of our main role. The second role is that when member states have to harmonize policy, we make sure that we bring the position, the perspective of each member state in policy harmonization. The same thing that FEWASI started doing since 72 till date enable us to participate in the formulation of our AFCFTA. We play a key role in that AFCFTA, where we notice that in West Africa we have a strong policy. The ECOWAS policy is a part and parcel of our AFCFTA. So anytime that anybody talk about AFCFTA, have in mind that we cannot improve AFCFTA, leaving behind all the policy that we have at the ECOWAS. So what we do is to support big company, is to support small company, is support informal sector. When you look at today the SMEs issue, we have something that everybody didn't look at. When you see MTN on mobile transfer, MTN is going with 1,000 and 1,000 SMEs. When you look at Dangote Group is working with 1,000 and 1,000 of SMEs. What can we do? What are we doing in Chambers of Commerce to support these SMEs so that they pass through the channel of a big company? Any SMEs cannot go today at the border. Pass is good if you didn't comply with the ETLS rule and regulation. So that's what we do to facilitate the road for SMEs to pass the border. But you cannot pass the border if you don't have a very good infrastructure, a very good logistic. That is where your question is coming. We in FEWASI, we support the PPP model to set up a very good business environment with the support of the government. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Perhaps this will be a good time for us to pivot a little bit. And I really want to thank you for those two, for the key idea. You're highlighting this we need a strong private sector, and the advocacy work that you do to ensure that we're able to benefit from the regional policies that we have in place. Mr. Hussaini, I know as part of work you do also as employers of labor, there are a few things that you look at on the regional perspective. So tell us a little bit about FOPAO for the benefits of our participants here, and how does FOPAO provide a unique value-added benefit compared to what existing regs do, and what are the immediate benefits for the SMEs that are present here? Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, mesdames et messieurs. Merci, le modérateur. Je voudrais, au nom du président Cissé, remercier la CEDEAO et rappeler que nous sommes au 50e anniversaire de la CEDEAO. Donc la féliciter et applaudir tous ceux qui ont permis d'arriver à ce stade de vie sans arrêt, de rupture. Ceci dit, la FOPAO est l'organisation patronale qui, tout en reconnaissant le travail que les chambres de commerce ont fait depuis l'indépendance jusqu'à aujourd'hui, est arrivée pour la défense de l'entreprise, le renforcement des capacités de l'entreprise pour qu'elles prennent leur place dans le développement économique et social de la région. Et à ce titre, nous avons participé à toutes les élaborations des politiques que la CEDEAO a réalisées jusqu'alors pour le commerce régional, pour le commerce transfrontalier, pour l'épanouissement de l'entreprise nationale qui doit occuper le marché régional, qui jusqu'à présent avait une forte participation d'entreprises étrangères. Pour ce faire, il faut avoir des capacités. Il faut que nos entreprises s'organisent. Il faut qu'elles aient des compétences. Il faut qu'elles connaissent toutes les politiques que la CEDEAO a mises en place pour pouvoir le faire. Et le rôle de la FOPAO, c'est d'accompagner ces entreprises-là dans la maîtrise des politiques, dans la mise en œuvre des politiques et surtout dans la facilitation des échanges en ayant un échange d'informations assez structuré entre tous les pays pour pouvoir profiter du grand marché régional qu'offre la CEDEAO. On a vu tous les problèmes qui ont été soulevés avant que nous arrivions ici, mais tout est géré politiquement. Et je vais quitter le théorique pour dire une image. Nous sommes venus, après les indépendances, on ne savait pas, on a appris, maintenant on connaît. L'entrepreneur régional de la CEDEAO peut faire son entreprise, produire et occuper le marché qui lui est dédié, mais encore s'étendre sur les autres marchés par toutes les politiques qui permettent le marché international. La FOPAO est donc dans la mission d'aider toutes ces entreprises-là à maîtriser le sujet et à utiliser leurs connaissances pour pouvoir aider au développement économique et social de la sous-région. Et ceci dit, nous tenons à remercier la CEDEAO qui nous a associés à toutes les activités relatives à cette étape et où il y a vraiment une très bonne collaboration entre la FOPAO et tous les responsables de la CEDEAO pour atteindre ces objectifs qu'ils nous ont fixés. Merci.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jallo. It's beginning to be, it's clear to us over this last 2 days, and particularly in the previous session, that we are all doing the same thing because we have a common goal. We are looking at different things, issues, but we're all trying to tackle the same problem. Perhaps one of the takeaways from this meeting already could be that there is synergy that needs to take place in this meeting. we should not leave this place without Ecowas women and FOPAO, February, all the different associations that are here. We're talking about grouping together so that there is power at scale. And there are many areas that we are all looking at. We're trying to tackle different issues, but we have different perspectives. Advocacy becomes stronger when we speak with one voice. So I would like to encourage participants, as we are here today, please share your contacts. Let's talk together. The good thing is that you recognize what ECOWAS is doing. The policies are there. Implementations may be lagging or lacking, but we can address them with the ideas that are already being shared. Monsieur Diallo, merci beaucoup une fois encore. I'm going to skip now because I want to take another perspective from the government side. Mr. Mark Luba, I'm coming to you now before I deal with the private sector, full business, and then the financier. Okay, so again, Côte d'Ivoire exports. So what policies we can learn from each other? So what policy reforms or incentives has the government introduced to foster stronger PPP collaboration in export development? So from your perspective, thank you.
Merci, monsieur le modérateur. Je voudrais avant tout, n'est-ce pas, adresser au nom de mon directeur général, monsieur Kalagi Fatiga, qui n'a pas pu faire le déplacement pour des questions de contraintes d'agenda, adresser nos remerciements à la CEDEAO qui fête ses 50 ans et qui a bien voulu associer notre agence, n'est-ce pas, à ces manifestations dans le cadre de ce panel. Alors, la question concernant la collaboration entre le secteur privé et l'État, qui est un impact, n'est-ce pas, sur le commerce, est une réalité en Côte d'Ivoire. D'abord, mon ambassadeur est là et il ne va pas apprécier si je ne fais pas référence à une structure étatique qui a pour mission de fédérer les relations entre l'État, n'est-ce pas, et le secteur privé, à savoir le Comité national de pilotage des partenariats publics-privés, qui est né en 2012 et qui a connu une réforme en 2018 et qui a en son sein une structure appelée Comité national de concertation État-secteur privé. Donc, c'est une réalité, n'est-ce pas, hein, la collaboration entre l'État et le secteur privé. Alors, dans mon argumentaire, je vais mettre un accent sur le volet qui touche la promotion commerciale. Voilà. Donc, en termes de développement de promotion commerciale, il y a eu plusieurs réformes. Au nombre de ces réformes-là, on peut retenir notamment la création de l'agence Côte d'Ivoire Export, hein, qui est née en 2022 à travers le décret 2022-123 du 23 février 2022 et qui a pour mission d'aider les petites et moyennes entreprises, n'est-ce pas, à trouver des marchés, à être visibles à l'extérieur, n'est-ce pas, dans le cadre de l'exportation. Madame Yao Ndri, tout à l'heure, a parlé de ce qui s'est fait à la frontière. Il va de soi qu'une association de femmes ne peut pas aller à la frontière pour discuter des questions de dédouanement. Parce qu'à la frontière, ceux qui y sont, c'est l'État qui est là. Il y a l'État ghanéen et l'État ivoirien. Donc, derrière tout cela, il y a l'intervention de l'État. L'État a pris en compte les préoccupations exprimées par les femmes dans leur collaboration et a présenté ça, n'est-ce pas, pour trouver une solution, n'est-ce pas, pratique. L'État, dans sa collaboration avec le secteur privé, a identifié des problèmes et des préoccupations liées, n'est-ce pas, au développement du commerce et à l'accès au marché. Le secteur, il y a une dame tout à l'heure qui a indiqué que les structures sont éparses, n'est-ce pas? Il faut aller là pour un papier, il faut aller un autre côté pour payer. Alors l'État, en Côte d'Ivoire, à la date d'aujourd'hui, a pris un bâtiment où se trouvent toutes les structures qui ont en charge l'appui à apporter, n'est-ce pas, aux petites et moyennes entreprises. Cette structure s'appelle le guichet unique du commerce et du développement des entreprises. En son sein, il y a une structure qu'on appelle la société de garantie des PME. Parce qu'on sait que les PME, pour avoir accès au financement, ont des problèmes de caution et de garantie. Cette structure est là. Et l'agence Côte d'Ivoire Export, où je travaille, est également dans ce bâtiment. Ce bâtiment abrite également la structure qui s'occupe de la réforme des petites et moyennes entreprises. Donc, quand un opérateur entre dans ce bâtiment, ces problèmes sont résolus. Du point de vue structurel, du point de vue des questions touchant à l'accès au marché, du point de vue des questions touchant à des préoccupations liées à la certification, etc., dont il est question. Donc, le partenariat secteur privé et secteur public touchant, n'est-ce pas, la promotion du commerce est une réalité. En Côte d'Ivoire, il y a des mesures incitatives qui ont été prises par l'État pour encourager la transformation des produits locaux à l'effet d'ajouter plus de valeur de ces produits à l'exportation. Et puis, pour l'acquisition des équipements ayant trait à la transformation des produits, il y a des facilités douanières qui sont également prévues. Au total, nous pouvons dire qu'il y a une bonne collaboration entre le secteur privé et le secteur public. Il y a des rencontres spéciales qui sont organisées. Il y a une rencontre qu'on appelle la revue du commerce extérieur. C'est un cadre de dialogue entre le secteur privé et le secteur public pour identifier exclusivement les questions ayant trait au commerce, afin de leur donner une solution de façon concertée. En dehors de la revue, il y a ce que nous appelons le vendredi de l'espoir, n'est-ce pas, qui est une séance organisée par moi tous les vendredis et qui a pour but de renforcer les capacités compétitives des entreprises à l'exportation. Donc, concernant l'exportation et concernant la coopération, la collaboration entre l'État et le secteur privé, il y a plusieurs mesures qui sont prises. Et ces mesures trouvent des solutions. Par exemple, ce matin, la CEDEAO a invité une dame, n'est-ce pas, qui devait participer à cette activité-là. Mais elle a reçu son billet tardivement. Donc, elle ne pouvait pas venir. L'agence est venue avec ses produits. Parce qu'il y a la collaboration. L'agence a pris ses produits et est venue avec ses produits. Donc, l'État a fait un effort et le secteur privé est perceptible de ces efforts. Et je pense que c'est des approches qui permettent de promouvoir et d'aider, n'est-ce pas, les petites et moyennes entreprises, notamment les femmes et les jeunes, à avoir accès non seulement au marché hors de la CEDEAO, mais également au marché régional. Voici de façon abrégée, n'est-ce pas, le commentaire que je voulais apporter à votre réponse.
Thank you so much, Mr. Loba. I think this is the direction that we're trying to get across. This is what we would like all of us to repeat across board. This is what we would like to encourage within the region. Ecowas is putting the framework in place. Member states are engaging to really deal with the issues at micro level so that it can actually work. What we say in Ecowas is the force behind this. So please let me reflect behind it, because you can put in committees in place, but they're not actually effective. So, but it seems yours is effective, so there must be something that makes everybody give credence to what that committee does, and I will get back to you on that. So, Omjeri, I'm going to, as they say in Yoruba, the big masquerade comes last. Okay, all right. So, let me come to Mr. Aidara. I think my question to you is simple. Okay. Perhaps because of, I don't want to ask you your journey. I will ask you your journey after, but I want you to really look at how can governments better support indigenous companies like JA, okay, in scaling operations and expanding regionally. You've had the previous session, our SMEs have spoken. We've had the panel members talk about some pertinent issues, and we can learn from the example from Côte d'Ivoire. So from your perspective, how can governments better support indigenous companies to scale up operations and expand, at least on the regional level, and then we'll go global?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And I'm very glad to be here and honored, actually, and to be part of the sponsors. Mr. Jia, the CEO of the company, had loved to be here, but unfortunately, he's caught up with some very pressing issues. Last minute, he has to cancel. But having said that,